This meeting is being recorded.
Right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's session. This evening, we have one of our black belts, Dorcus from Uganda, is going to be talking about communicating to motivate children and how to bring out the best in our students by simple changes in the way we communicate. As you know, we always remind you every week to mute your mic unless you are talking. So please mute your mic and wait for the question and answer session, or raise up your hand before you talk. So I'm going to mute everyone because I can still hear some background noise. And then Dorcus, you can unmute yourself and begin. So let me mute everybody so everything is quiet.
Are we ready?
Yes, we're ready.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, I can.
Yes, I can hear you, Dorcus. You can go ahead.
Great. Thank you so much for being here. I want to say I'm greatly honored to be talking to all of you this evening. My name is Dorcus Magoba, and I am a trainer. Fatima usually says so many other things, but for this purpose, I am a trainer and I lead the 1 Million Teachers program in Uganda. And as a trainer, I am passionate about training teachers because I believe that if we have well-equipped teachers, highly motivated, passionate about what they are doing, I believe that they can easily pass on knowledge, but also impact the learners, which gives us better citizens, basically. Because every nation wants a corrupt-free generation, every nation wants a hardworking generation, every nation wants good lawyers, wants good doctors, well-trained, but we can only have that possible if our teachers are doing an awesome job. So, having given that background, we are going to start with the brain teaser. Fatima, if you can take me to the second slide. Fatima, are you there? Yes. So we have a question there. Don't know if we are able to see it. Are we able to see it?
Yes, I can see it. I carry lots of food, but cannot eat anything.
We are going to put our answers in the chat. So everyone type your answer in the chat section. Where am I? So I'm waiting for the right answer. So let's put a basket. I see basket. Yes, I'm waiting for more answers on this. I'm waiting for more. I'm waiting for more. Farmland. Farmland. Basket. I'm waiting for more people. We are 20, so I expect that I will have 20 answers. West bin doesn't keep food. Sunday. Spoon. Farm. Basket. Shopping bag. Okay, I'm waiting for more answers. Stomach. Winfred, you're the winner. Stomach stores, but doesn't eat. But it has to first eat before it even stores. Brain doesn't eat the food. Yeah. Okay. Fork. How much food can a fork keep? Remember, we are talking about a lot of food. Store. Okay. I guess no one has my answer, so I keep the gift to myself. Okay, Smart, what do you think is the right answer?
I think it should be a basket.
A basket. Does it keep? It holds.
It carries.
Rashida, what do you think is the right answer?
Maybe a fridge.
Awesome. So my answer is the fridge. And it's very important that we get to know that even when we are teachers, we actually can fail some things. So that should give us perspective to know that when we are teaching learners, while it's good that they get 100%, it's also good to understand that they are human and they are in the process of learning. So if a teacher can fail, why not a child? So I will go into my presentation now. Fatma, you're going to take me the next slide. Sorry. Okay, so I know people are expecting a lot about communication this evening, but I want to believe that by now most of us understand the basics of communication. So I hope there is no one expecting me to talk about channels of communication, definition of communication. I basically want to lean more into the communication and its impact. And we are talking about effective communication and the impact it will have on the learners and even those around you if done well. And I want to begin with a quote that says, the way that you communicate with your students can positively affect their perceptions of school, their role in the classroom, themselves, and their abilities, and their motivation to succeed. So what does that mean? That's what you say, how you say it, where you say it, it has an impact on how your learners will be. Will they be successful? And I think I've shared the story before here about a teacher that I think I speak, I do the things I do the things the way I do them because of the teacher who believed in me, my literature teacher in high school. So I believe that as teachers, we have a lot to do and how we do it really matters. And so I'm going to lean more into talking about communication, how we do it, and then looking at the impact. So remember, the way that you communicate with your students can positively affect their perceptions. How do they perceive themselves? Do they think they can win? Do they think they are losers? Do they think they are stupid? Do they think they are useless? How do you make your learners perceive themselves, perceive others, perceive the environment? Do they hate school because of you, the teacher? Do they hate their colleagues because of the way you say things in classroom? Do you segregate against your students to find that you actually show them that these children are from a poor community, these ones are from rich families? How does that treat your learners? So that's what we are going to look at today, and I hope I'm able to convince you that communication is very important for us to have successful learners, to make sure that we get the impact that we desire in the learners. Let's go to the next slide, Fatma. If you forget anything, I didn't want to put very many words on this slide. So if you forget anything today, I want you to look at this flow and just take this. My assumption and my understanding is that effective communication will make you an effective teacher or will lead to teacher effectiveness. And once you're an effective teacher, you have no choice but to actually get results. And once you get results, then you're impacting your community, you're impacting the learners, you're impacting their parents because you're doing things the way you should do them. When I think about effective communication, what makes you an effective communicator? I will give examples and feel free to add on the chat if you agree or disagree, or if you can add on what I will be saying. Remember, this is not cast in stone. These are opinions. These are lessons I've learned over time. And I believe there are many other people that can add on to what I'm sharing today. So when I think about an effective teacher, I think about the way you teach. The way you teach. How do you teach? Recently, I'm on our WhatsApp group for teachers. Someone asked for notes from another school. Now, they were not asking because they wanted to compare what they have. They were asking because they wanted to use that to go and teach in another school. Not as a research, but as a way. You're a lazy teacher. You don't want to sit and read. You don't want to sit and research. And as a result, all you do is go to the other teacher who taught the class last year and then pick the notes and come and teach your students. So for me, that cannot make you an effective teacher. An effective teacher, you will be able to know what pictures can I use in class? What ideas am I going to teach my learners? What information must they know? What speaking style must I use? What teaching and learning styles can I use for me to make sure that I am achieving the impact or the results I want from the learners? So the number one thing is ways of teaching and ways of learning. So how you do that? Through the different things that you can do in class. Your selection of materials, your choice of words you're going to use, the language you're going to use. Because are you someone who, and I'm going to give you an example. When we talk about language, I think for many years, I was a rhetoric speaker or a questioning speaker. So I will get in class or I will get home to my children, and my way of communicating to them is, why didn't you do this? Will you die if you do this? Why aren't you? How come this is not done? So because of my style of communication, my husband helped me know that I intimidate my children. So every time they see me, they see questions. So they are scared of what next question is coming. So for me, the language you choose to use and how you use it matters, and it creates perceptions for the learners. It creates an environment. Is the environment safe? Are you using language that enhances a safe environment? So it's very important that we understand that. The other thing is that effective communication will come with things like dressing. I have been in schools where you find teachers are the worst dressed. They have learners who are even smarter than them. So do you think you're going to have these learners respect you, go in class and they listen to you and they pay attention to what you're teaching, if you cannot come in and you're well dressed? The other thing I want to emphasize on this point of effective teaching is that you have to be mindful of today's learners. In the past, a teacher used to be the only one that knew everything. Now, in today's situation, with the technology, with the research that these kids do, you find that a learner knows actually more than we know as teachers. So if you come to class and all you do is just give me notes, without engaging me, without involving me, without asking me what I think, then we are likely not to be attracted to what you do, because you find you're teaching me something which I actually already know or which I saw on TV. You're teaching me an abbreviation of a certain organization. That's why I pass every morning with my dad in the car. You're teaching me about some concepts about the computer. You actually don't know how to use the computer. I have an iPad at home and I know how to use a computer. So you have to be able to know you have to know your learners and understand, what do my learners know? Do they? How do I make their opinions matter without them overriding my opinions as a teacher? So once you understand that, then you will be able to assist your learners to give them the best, but also ensure that they are getting impacted in some way. The other thing I want us to really focus on is that for you to be an effective teacher, or communicator, you have to be able to be open to feedback. Victor has a question. I'm going to pause after this, then I will take some questions. Yeah, so as a teacher, you have to be able to ask for feedback. It's very important for the learners to evaluate you. Now, for most teachers, they will think this is a bad thing. But as a teacher, once you listen to your learners, once they give you the feedback, you're able to know, how can I improve myself to make sure that I am an effective teacher, I am communicating better, and my learners are enjoying learning, not just coming to class because their parents have paid school fees. So that's the first part of the flow, and I will take questions. I think someone has a question, and then I will go on to the next, which I should be done in the next 20 minutes, and then we will go on to other questions. Okay, any questions so far? Fatma, I saw someone's hand up. Are you there?
I can't see a hand up. I can't see anybody's hand up. Or the person can unmute and ask, who is the person that had their hand up?
Excuse me.
Esther? Is that Esther?
It's a mistake.
Your voice is breaking
Victor,
up, Esther.
It was a mistake. She says it was a mistake, Fatma, so I can continue.
Oh, okay, carry on.
Okay, so I will go to the teacher effectiveness, and this one, you realize that already we have talked about it, because from being an effective communicator, then it takes you to becoming an effective teacher. Now, an effective teacher, the communication, because you understand the aspects, the importance of communication in teaching, in passing on information, you will be able to know that I can pick this style of teaching, or I can use this learning style, or I know my learners enough that this language doesn't suit them. I know my learners enough that this activity does not help them. So then you're able to use exactly what your learners want and need for the session, instead of assuming, because you're getting to know them deeper, and it's communication that will help you assess your learners in a way to be able to meet their needs, but also give them what they desire. Now, once you have become an effective teacher, there are things you're going to achieve, and they are called results. And I put them under 3 P's. Number 1, the first P is that performance. You're going to have your learners enjoy learning, and because of that, they will actually start performing well. Now, when they perform well as a teacher, there is impact. The learners who pass look forward to going to school. When a child is always number one, they are excited about school. They want to run and go. They want to be number one at school. They want to be number one in sports. Why? Because their performance motivates them to be better every day. And they always look for opportunities to learn because they always want to be better. The other P is that presence. When you know how to communicate to your learners better, you will attract their presence. Presence is in two ways. The first presence is that they will actually leave their homes and come to class. The next presence is that they will actually be in class and they are not busy drawing cartoons of your bums. They are not busy drawing cartoons of your legs. They are not making you, they are not writing cheats to each other. So there is that presence when they are in class and the teacher is in, and it's all becoming, it's all coming to play because of how you're communicating, of the tools you're using to communicate, of you understanding that my learner's attention span, for example, is like this. So you have put in an effort to understand them, and because of that, you achieve performance and presence. The other thing that you will achieve is passion. Like I said, when a learner is good in class, when they know you pay attention to them, that you don't come to class and you leave a class without calling anyone's name. If I know that a teacher, every time teacher Smart enters a class, they call Dorcas answered this, Dorcas this, Brenda this. So you're always involving your learners and engaging them, and as a result, they develop passion for learning, for being in class. They are present physically, emotionally, and every other way. So those are the 3 P's I want you to take under results. That results, good results will give us performance, will give us presence, and presence goes in 2 ways. The presence to leave their homes and come to class, or leave their dormitories and come to class, or the presence where I am in class, I am present, but I'm also emotionally and psychologically present. And once we do that, definitely we will get the impact that we so much desire. The impact that the learners will be better at what they do, and when they go in the communities, they will be great ambassadors. There will be transformation in communities. Why? Because as teachers, we did our job so well that we have better presidents, we have better ministers, we have better doctors, we have better teachers. I want to pause and take a question, 1 or 2, and then I'll go to the next. And I can assure you, I am concluding. Yeah. Questions? I see Hamed's hand up. Hamed?
Hamid, your hand was up. Do you want to speak? Hamid. Hamid. And Ishmael. Hamid, talk, and then Ishmael, and then Sharif. Hamid, can you hear us? Hamid? Okay, maybe Hamid is having some network connectivity issues. We can go to Ishmael.
Yeah, hello, good evening. Dorcus, thanks for this wonderful presentation. Now, I have a question. My question is, you know, when you were talking earlier, you talked about something that struck me. You talked about that before now, teachers, we are the sole custodian of knowledge, but now we have children who can even be more knowledgeable than their teachers because of their exposures to more information and internet and technology and so on. So my question is, how do these present 21st century teachers manage this generation of children that we have now who are exposed to such informations?
Thank you, Ishmael. So how do we manage learners that are exposed to technology, to information, even more than us? Number one, we manage them in two ways. From our end as teachers, we do our research, we do our reading, we do our, we get to their level, yeah? We understand more than they do. But what happens today is that you will have a teacher who last updated their notes in 2018. Now, such a teacher will be challenged by a learner. Then you have another teacher who is going to make sure that even when I have smart learners in class, I am constantly involving them and engaging them to help their friends too, because not everyone in class will be at the same level as the other one who is very exposed. So what you do then is you will see that these ones who think they know or who actually know, they are better placed in group discussions and to lead group discussions. So instead of criticizing them for their knowledge, you actually make them useful. You make them discuss for others. You make them in charge of small groups. You make them in charge of researching for you. So for example, if I want to know about corruption and its general paper, in Uganda we do general paper, I'm going to give it to them as an assignment. Then they will go home and they use their computers and gadgets and they'll be excited and they bring me the information that I need. So number one, get to their level. Number two, find a way, a style that applies to them, that is going to help them not feel out of place and not feel like their knowledge is a problem. So then you engage them at their level, you help, you make them discuss for those who don't know, and also you still encourage them to know more, but also to be helpful generally in the community. I don't know if I have answered you, Ishmael.
Yes, you have. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay. Sheriff?
Okay. Thank you very much, Dorcas, for the wonderful presentation. My question is around how do you help a student who, no matter how best you try, still gets so much distracted in class and doing other things while the class is still going on, especially a particular student? How do you assist?
Do you have anything specific that they do?
Like just getting carried away. Getting carried away sometimes.
Now, getting carried away, number one, it's a sign of boredom. That you as a teacher, you're boring these specific learners. You haven't met them at where they want to be. Number two, there is a possibility that what you're passing on, they already know, and therefore they don't see a reason why they should listen to you. So like I said, then at that stage, you actually ask them, you keep pointing at them, you keep giving them challenges, because the only way to deal with sharp learners is to challenge them more. So you give them questions, you give them tasks that challenge them. So once you do that, then you're likely to understand what is it that works for them, because you will find that they are behaving like that because you haven't understood what appeals to them. Sometimes it's hard, especially when you have big classes, to understand everyone, but you find that this specific learner most probably will concentrate when you shift them from a position where they are to a new position. If this learner sits behind, you will shift them to sit in front. So there are things you can say, you can start you can start picking their brain on what is it exactly that puts them off, that gets them carried away. So once you understand that, then you'll be able to prescribe some medicine for them. Is it shifting them to where they sit? Is it challenging them? Is it engaging them in discussions? Is it calling them to present to the class what they know? Is it asking questions? So you start figuring it out, but you have to pay attention to them. You don't actually ignore them. Yeah.
Thank you very
Okay,
much.
kindly allow me to continue. Arinze, I'll come back to you later. I need to finish in the next 10 minutes. Let's go to the next slide. Fatma, are you there? So why is it important to communicate effectively? Number one, we are dealing with diverse populations these days, diverse in every way. So without understanding how to communicate effectively, then you're likely not to understand how to deal with the different needs of these populations, of the students we have, of the teachers that surround us, of the, because we have different age groups. We have different ages in class. We have male and female. For some of the organizations and countries, you find they have different genders. So you have to be able to know that, so that you're able to know the language to use in a classroom setting. But it will also help you to know what examples can I use in class. If I have learners who are sensitive to chauvinistic issues, to male and female issues, then what language am I going to use? Then we engage parents. Communication helps you know what is it that I need to tell my parents about their children. It helps you get that emotional intelligence to deal with parents, to deal with learners, to manage relationships, for you to be able to pass on whatever information you want at any one time. I know we have modules on parental engagement, we have modules on diversity, we have modules on student engagement. If you've forgotten, I will encourage you to go back to those modules and you learn something from them. The other thing is that you are their role model. You're the role model. If, for example, your language is vulgar, when you're in the staff room, you're someone different. When you're in the communities, they find you someone shabby, you're abusing people, you drink on the streets. That's the nature, the kind of a teacher you are outside the classroom. These learners will not respect you, and because they don't respect you, they will not hear what you have to say. So you're their role model. At any one point, you have to be able to prove that you're worth following. Because you're a leader, you must make sure that these learners follow you and follow your footsteps. Let's go on, Fatima. Yes, I know I've already talked about how to become the effective communicator. I just want to emphasize that number one, read and research. The challenges of my learners are more intelligent. Let's get back, Fatima. Are more intelligent, it will not apply. Why? Because you're reading, you're constantly learning. And I think we need to thank 1 million teachers, because everything you need is actually on the portal. Everything you need, there is research done for us. So we really need to utilize the opportunity and learn from the bells, learn the content, and also apply the content. Because it's one thing to go through this program to become a black belt, but when you actually cannot apply the information. I want to emphasize again, read, because reading will help you create a good environment, a safe environment. It will help you get content. It will help you get activities, and also tailor activities based on your different age groups or different classes or different learners. It will make you make learning about your learners, not you. I think that's a mistake, not you. So make learning, the other point is that make learning about your learners. Most times we go to class and we speak and we rap and we say all these things, but are we caring what our learners really want to know? Are you paying attention to their needs? Do you know you can get in a class and you realize that these learners, maybe one of them has lost a father, and because of that, I help me mute someone. Yeah, so
Unmute yourself, Dorcas. I muted everyone.
Yeah, so you reach in class and you find out that one of the learners has lost a parent. But for you, because you had already made up your scheme of work, you have your lesson plan, you're saying we must learn still. But remember, these learners are human. These learners, one of them has just lost a dear parent. So the best way is for you to read that environment and make it about them and not about what you want to deliver. So understanding, where are my learners at? How are they today? Are they in a mood to do an activity? Can I give the notes? Can we do group discussions? So communication will help you achieve that. Treat learners as individuals. Don't assume that every communication style with you will work for every student. Dress appropriately and neatly, be a role model, and be open to feedback. Let's go, Fatma. As I conclude, someone said that communication is an unconscious process and it goes on at every moment of time. I want to emphasize the bit of the fact that communication, some people, some researchers have said that communication is 50% knowledge and 50% of all the other things that I talked about. It's 50% language you use, how you use it, how you dress, the signs you use, the body language, how you look. Are you clean or smelling? Do you come to class without deodorant? So then the 50% takes all that. Now, if you come to class and you have all those other things, the 50% will be gone. You will teach, pass on the content, but maybe little of it will be taken in, because remember, communication is 50% of all those other things. So communication, we do it as role models. We have to be mindful of how we communicate anytime, any day, anywhere, without failing. Yeah, Fatma, I think that's it. Thank you so much for listening to me. I'm going to take a few questions and then I will end my session.
Thank you so much, Dorcas. Thank you for giving us your time and giving us a really interesting topic to talk about. I just want to comment and add a few things that also communication can also be nonverbal, your body language, and you know, it's not only when you talk. You can talk with your body, you can talk with your eyes. It involves a lot. And like you said, building a positive relationship with our pupils, like we've learned in all our modules that we've done, student relationships, it's about building that positive relationship with your pupils. When your pupils really like you, they will listen to you. They will want to learn from you. Thank you again, Dorcas. Now let's open the floor if we want to read some comments in the chat. Okay, everybody's saying thank you. I don't know if anybody wants to. Sunday Warner said, how do you manage a child who does not do homework? Ernest says, lesson learned from the 7 habits of highly effective people. Okay, so if anybody wants to talk, I think Sekina to Musa raised her hands. Sekina, do you want to talk? Sekina, unmute and talk.
Okay, hello, good evening.
Good evening, Sekina. We can hear you. You can talk.
Okay.
Dorcas, do you want to unmute?
Yeah, I want to ask Auntie Dorcas if it is healthy for a teacher to help her learners with their homeworks in the school, because the child has parents who have no knowledge about education. They can't read, they can't write. So this child always goes to the house with the homework and then comes back in the morning with it. So is it healthy or is it appropriate for a teacher to help the child with homework at the end of the day? before the child goes to school? That's what I want to ask. Thank you.
Thank you, Sakina. So Dorcas, her question was, this child comes from a home where the parents are not educated. Is it okay for the teacher to help the child with the homework? Dorcas.
What do others think? I know it's a question to me, but it can
Okay, they
be
can maybe put it in the chat.
Yes.
What do others think? Yeah, let's have a discussion. The parents are not educated. They cannot read or write. What does the teacher do?
Hello, good evening all.
Good evening.
Yeah. So this question is, I think it's a common question. And my answer to that is that there is nothing wrong if a teacher helps a student in his homework. In fact, that is why it is called homework. You go home and work on it. Now, the essence of homework is for that child to go and learn more about what is being taught in class. And if there are difficulties, somebody around can help. It must not necessarily be the parents that is going to help with that homework. Anybody can help. Like what I do in my class, sometimes I give my students assignments, and once they get home, some of them will say that they gave it to their father, that their father said that he does not know maths, that they gave it to their mother, that their mother said he does not know maths, and that they were stranded. And I said, okay, don't you have neighbors or somebody that is just around? You would have gone to that person and meet the person to put you to that. It is homework. So my bottom line is this: homework is called homework. Anybody can assist that child for that child to get more understanding about what is being done. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ishmael. I want to add my own bit to that as well. Is the homework about something they've already learned? Is it reinforcing what has been taught in class, or is it research into another topic? Sakina.
Mashallah, how are you? Hey, I miss you.
Who is this? Can we mute if we're not being asked to talk? Okay, let me mute everybody. Okay, so I was saying, Sakina, the homework that was given, is it reinforcing something that has already been taught, or is it researching something new? Sakina?
Yeah, hello.
Hello?
Yeah, hello.
Did you hear my question?
Yes, I did, please. You know, most of the times the homeworks are based on new topics that have not yet been treated or have been treated, but then they are given questions to go and then research more about the topic. Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. So it's something new that has not been taught and they need to do research. Okay, all right. Maybe so somebody else wanted to.
Like I think Fatma said, homework is homework. The reason for you to give homework to a child is because you want to test them. Have they learned what you've already taught them? And I think we also need to stop the assumption of just because you've given them homework, you want them to do it with the parents. Yes, they will do it with the parents, but have they understood it from the teacher perspective? So it's okay for my child to go do the homework by themselves and then they fail. Then when they come to school, you actually tell them, no, this is how it is done. While I can tell them how it is done, I might not do it as the teacher expects. Especially like in Uganda, the curriculum has changed. The things we studied are not the things they are studying. So I might tell them something, but you find the curriculum has changed. The subject, how it's answered has changed. So at the end of the day, let them go home. They do the work. Once they come back tomorrow, they will say, teacher, here I failed. And you will ask, did you have anyone to help? They will say, no, my parents actually don't know how to do these things. Then you will be able to help, but afterward, after they have done the homework themselves. But apart from that, I think it is okay to help your learners if you realize that they need your help. Yeah. I'll take one more question and we will be done for the session. Any question, Fatma?
I can't see any question, but there's some things in the chat. Like Caroline said, I think it's appropriate for the teacher to give this child time to do the homework at school. Adebayo Tunde John said teacher can actually be of help to the students. Adaobi said, thank you, Dorcas, for this wonderful presentation. Esther Akintola said, if it is homework, is it necessary someone helps? If it is based on what the learners are taught in class, then do they need the help of parents? Caroline said, after all, we are looking at the child benefiting at the end of the day. In case of research, they can use the school lab. And Sekina said, well understood. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, like I said, you know, I think homework should test what you've already taught them. It should be to reinforce what you've taught in class. So the child should be able to do it without the help of the parents, because you're just trying to see if your learning objective has been met, if the children have learned what you wanted them to learn. So it should be a reinforcement of what was taught in class. But I know sometimes teachers give projects where they want them to find something out, but it should still be tailored to the level of the child. After all, it's meant to help the child learn. So are you targeting parents or are you targeting the child? Who do you want to benefit from the learning? So I think that's the question the teacher needs to ask when setting homework for children. Don't just give homework for the sake of giving homework. Let it be something that will be beneficial to the child. Okay, anybody else wants to say anything or ask anything for Dorcus before we?
Yeah, I think there's a question in the chat that was asked by Wona. He said, how do we handle a child who doesn't do his homework? I think it's in the chat there. So I would like us to look at that.
Okay.
I think that's what we've been handling.
But we've just been talking about homework, Ishmael. Why could the child not do the homework? Is it that it's because it was something the teacher has not taught them? Should we throw the question back? Why could the child not do the homework? Sunday Wona, why could the child not do the homework? Was it because it was too difficult? Was it because it was not the level of what the child could do? Was it because it was something you had not taught them? Why do you think that child could not do the homework, Sunday?
All right, thank you very much. I need to buttress it so that now, you know, there are schools private schools where the policy is no communication with the parents. No communication with parents. And some of these schools, you know, the children, they are highly respected and all of this. You have to respect them and all of that. Then, but some of them, they just continuously will not turn up homework. And you also, you will have to be careful, not regularly reporting a child, as it might show that you are not being a kind of not being efficient in the job. So you have to be technical, trying to make the child see reason, yet the child is not seeing reason. And you also will not want to report that child to the appropriate authority oftentimes, so that they will not like that. So how do you go about such a situation? That's my question.
You're giving us very unusual circumstances, because I cannot think of a place where a child, you do not communicate with parents, you cannot report a child. I mean, you've already answered your own question yourself, and you are not giving them something that you have taught them. You're not giving something that they understand. I mean, there is a problem with the child.
I, I want to say this, that the issues of doing homework, I love using my children as an example because I'm a mother of 3. I've seen my children, every time they leave school, they are so looking forward to doing their homework, the days they get homework. They're excited about doing it. So, number one, remember we are talking about communication for impact and motivation. So, what are those things you do that you make learners get attracted to homework? Because it's an issue of how are you talking to them? How are you communicating to them? What are you putting as a reward? If I do this homework well and I finish it, what is the reward? Because as a teacher, my job is to make sure I'm always trying to understand these learners. I'll give you an example. My daughter loves getting those stars. They are those stars they give to students. Oh, you're a star. You got 100% in your homework. They give you a star, you put it on your face. My daughter loves them. So because she loves them, the teacher always makes sure that they are stars for star performers. So what is it you're doing that is getting these learners more interested in the things you give them more than being a routine? Because you see most schools, most classes, most teachers make education a routine. It's not fun. So we need to make the classroom setting, the homework, the work assignments fun, not routine based. So once we do that, once we figure out what we can do to make sure that there is that passion ignited in the learners, then they will do the homework without pressure. Yeah. Fatma, I request to end this session.
Dorcus, we've still got 2 more questions, please.
Okay.
You've got 9 more minutes. It's 5 to 6. So please give us 9 more minutes. I think Esther Akintola, and then Oladapo Kayode, and then we'll end it. 2 questions and then we'll end it. So Esther Akintola, unmute and ask your question.
Thank you. I don't have a question. I just wanted to contribute to what is being said on the homework. For instance, for me, I've cultivated the culture of allowing my students to do the correction of homework in class. Now, I tell them that homework is for you. It's an avenue for me to assess if you've actually learned what has been taught, and if the lesson objectives has been achieved. So, but one thing I realized that some teachers, we give homework because we are not able to
complete.
Hello?
Yeah, he said we give homework because we're not able to complete our lesson.
We give homework. Exactly. We cannot deliver the lesson objectives. So we give homework that is even beyond the learners. So definitely they will go back home and bring the assignments back to us. So we should ascertain that we've done our best in class. And then if we want to give them questions that will probe their thinking, we will know that, okay, this one, we are probing their thinking and critical thinking or whatever. But homework should be based on what they've learned. If it's going to be research, these kids, they are kids. But sometimes we treat them as if we are lecturing and we are teaching university students. So please, let's come down to their level, just as Dr. said, that we should know that they are humans and we should come down to their level. And also for students that they don't even attempt homework, let's get to what is happening. I report my students. For instance, if I find that my students, they don't come to class, they come to school, but they go to another class to hide when it's time for my subject, I want to know why. Am I scary? What's going on? And I report to the school authority. He's not copying notes. She's not copying notes. Let's find out what we can do. And I realized that there was a boy. Sorry, there was a boy, and he was not even living with his parents. So who wants to check? So please, let's put all these things in check. Thank you.
Excellent comment, Esther. I agree with everything you've said. Thank you. Oladapo Kayode.
Yeah, good evening, man. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I just want to, not a question as well. I am teaching at a government school. I'm from Oyo State, Nigeria. And there was a time that my service was needed as a part-time teacher at a private school. And when I got to the place, it was a kind of contrast to what I'm used to, because at my public school, my students, they will be seated in the class waiting. If I'm late for a minute, 2 minutes, the class captain will already be at my office to call for me. But when I got to this private school, it was something else, totally different. It was at the time of the lesson that the student will be hitting in the class, moving around. When I'm to give them notes, they will be walking around. It was completely strange. And when I reported to the principal then that this that I'm saying is kind of strange to me, that was when the principal told me that this student that you're seeing, we have professors as their parents, we have judges, we have politicians, and they were telling me this and that. So it is not like where you're coming from. So I want to align with what the earlier questioner said, that at private school, it's kind of different because there is limit to what one can say, and there is limit to that which one can do. And just like our facilitator said today, at the place that I'm working, which is that government school, it is a large school, and the presence, just like she said, is very, very important. Most of us as teachers, we are carried away with what we want to teach at times, and we are not concentrating on the learners. For example, if we can't maintain eye contact, that we're just looking at the board, if any student is distracted, we will not know what he or she is doing. There are times that we just need to look at them. Through eye contact, we can tell. That is what I do. I scan whenever I'm teaching so that I'll be able to see whether the person is actually following. At their level, they are students. They can get to know something more than us, but there are some things that we still have more than them. So if through eye contact, that's for me, it works for me, that through eye contact, I can actually tell whether you are listening, whether you are following, or whether you are doing something else. So that is just what I want to say so that I won't take time any longer. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think that's very important. Remember, when you're teaching, it's not good that you just stay in front writing on the board. It's better you move in class, you be personal. You can have a class of 40 students, but you're personal. Every time you enter class, you're personal with them. You're talking to them, you're moving, you're calling out a name. So make it personal. Don't just make it's a classroom. I come, I teach, I deliver, I go. Make it personal, that even when we are many, I feel there is this personal connection that I have with my learners, my individual learners. Yes. Thank you so much. And Fatima, I think I need to end here. I see the chat is almost bursting. Thank you, everyone who has turned up. I know my prospective black belts from Uganda are online. Thank you, Flavia, Diana, and Carol, and everyone else for turning up. And thank you, Fatima, for hosting me this evening. Over to you. My session is done. God bless you, everyone. Thank you for listening to me.
God bless you too, Dorcas. Thank you so much. It's been really interesting and interactive. Thank you for giving us your time. Thank you, everyone that joined us today. With that, we draw the session to an end. We'll see you again next week, same time, same place, from 5 to 6. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye. Go speaking.
Bye. Have a wonderful.
Yeah.